Most riders think warming up for 5 minutes protects their engine, but that safe habit is literally washing oil off your cylinder walls. Today we're covering the 8 ways idling is slowly killing your motorcycle, backed by manufacturer data and real engineering. Some of these will contradict everything your riding buddy told you. And number 1, it'll show you exactly how much money you're burning in your driveway every morning. Stick around unless you want to keep paying for carbon cleanings that shouldn't exist. We'll get into exactly why this is damaging in a minute. But first, let's talk about what's happening inside your engine while you're sitting there convinced you're being careful. Number 8, you're washing oil off your cylinder walls. Let's start with the damage you can't see but absolutely should know about. At idle, your engine runs a rich fuel mixture to maintain smooth operation. That's normal and completely necessary for modern engines. Your ECU increases fuel delivery when the engine's cold to ensure reliable combustion. Nothing wrong with that. The problem is what happens to that extra fuel when combustion temperatures are low and the engine's barely working. Incomplete combustion sends raw gasoline past your piston rings and down the cylinder walls. This process, called fuel dilution or cylinder wash, literally washes away the protective oil film that's supposed to be preventing metal-on-metal contact. Think about that for a second. The thing you're doing to protect your engine is actively removing the actual protection. It's like wearing a bulletproof vest made of tissue paper because someone told you tissue is softer and therefore safer. AmSoil's extensive testing on commercial fleet vehicles, police cars, delivery trucks, emergency response vehicles, anything that idles extensively, shows dramatic fuel dilution in used oil samples. They're seeing 5 to 7% fuel contamination in oil from high idle vehicles, when 2% is already considered concerning. That's not a rounding error. That's your oil literally becoming diluted gasoline. Here's where it gets specific. Ford's engineering data, based on decades of studying internal combustion engines across their fleet, estimates that 1 hour of idling equals approximately 25 miles of engine wear. Let's apply that to your morning ritual. 5 minutes of idle every single day you ride. For someone who rides regularly, say 200 days a year, that's roughly 16 hours of annual idle time. 16 hours times 25 miles per hour of idle wear equals 400 miles of equivalent engine stress without ever leaving your driveway. You literally could have ridden to a city 400 miles away and put less wear on your engine than sitting still all year pretending to be careful. Number 7, your engine's running rich and building carbon. Cold engines need rich fuel mixtures. There's no way around that fundamental requirement of internal combustion. When metal is cold, fuel doesn't atomize as efficiently. Air density is different. Combustion chamber temperatures are lower. The ECU compensates by adding more fuel to ensure the mixture ignites reliably. This is engineering, not a flaw. But when you're just sitting there idling, that rich mixture combined with low combustion temperatures creates the perfect recipe for carbon deposits. Unburned fuel doesn't magically disappear into the atmosphere. Well, some does through your exhaust, contributing to air pollution while you sit there. The rest becomes carbon that accumulates on your piston tops, intake valves, combustion chambers, and exhaust valves. Here's where it gets expensive, and I mean seriously expensive. Carbon buildup on piston tops does several harmful things simultaneously. It reduces effective compression ratio, which sounds minor until you realize it's robbing your engine of power. It creates hot spots, localized areas of higher temperature, that can cause pre-ignition. Pre-ignition is when the fuel-air mixture ignites before the spark plug fires, which is catastrophic for engine internals. Carbon on intake valves is especially brutal on direct injection engines because there's no fuel spray washing over the back of the valves like there was with port injection. The carbon just accumulates, restricting airflow into the cylinder and messing with your precisely calibrated air-fuel mixture. Your ECU tries to compensate, but eventually the carbon buildup overwhelms its ability to adjust. Carbon deposits in the combustion chamber effectively increase your compression ratio. That sounds good if you don't understand engines. Higher compression means more power, right? Wrong. Uncontrolled compression increase causes knock, and knock causes piston damage, ring damage, and potential catastrophic failure. The carbon is literally changing your engine's compression ratio away from what the manufacturer engineered. Carbon on exhaust valves leads to valves that stick, don't seal properly, or, in extreme cases, burn completely through. A burnt exhaust valve means complete engine teardown, valve replacement, possibly head resurfacing. You're looking at a minimum of $1,000 in labor alone, not counting parts. Number 6, you're accelerating oil breakdown. Pull out your owner's manual right now and find the maintenance schedule section. Look for the definition of severe service versus normal service. I'll wait. Found it? Notice what's listed under severe service conditions. Excessive idling is right there alongside towing, hauling, racing, dusty conditions, and frequent short trips. The manufacturer is explicitly telling you that idling counts as severe service. That classification alone should make you rethink your morning routine. But let's get into why idling accelerates oil breakdown. The fundamental problem is that extended idling doesn't let your oil reach and maintain optimal operating temperature to burn off contaminants. Your oil stays in this lukewarm state where it can't evaporate accumulated moisture and fuel. Moisture accumulates from combustion byproducts. Burning hydrocarbons produces water vapor. In a properly warmed engine being ridden, that moisture evaporates out of the crankcase through the PCV system. During extended idle, it just sits in your oil. Acids from combustion byproducts build up. These acids attack metal surfaces, causing corrosion that wouldn't happen if the oil was at proper temperature. The oil's detergency additives, the chemicals specifically formulated to suspend dirt particles so your filter can catch them, get overwhelmed and depleted when dealing with excessive contaminants. Anti-wear additives like zinc dialkylthiophosphate break down faster under the combination of contamination and inadequate temperature. The viscosity modifiers that help your multi-grade oil maintain proper thickness under different temperatures start to shear apart and lose effectiveness. Severe service maintenance schedules typically require oil changes 30 to 50% more frequently than normal service intervals. If your manual says change quality synthetic oil every 5,000 miles under normal riding conditions, excessive idling might mean you need changes every 2,500 to 3,500 miles. That's literally double the oil changes, double the expense, double the hassle, all because you're sitting in your driveway pretending to be careful about engine longevity. Number 5, air-cooled engines actually overheat from idling. This misconception trips people up constantly because the surface logic seems completely reasonable. Riders look at their air-cooled Harley-Davidson, Triumph Bonneville, Ducati Scrambler, or any other air-cooled bike and think, this engine runs hot naturally, so I better let it idle for a while to warm up gently and safely. That logic is not just wrong, it's the exact opposite of correct. Air-cooled engines are called air-cooled for a reason. They require moving air flowing over the cylinder fins to dissipate heat. Those cooling fins you see on the cylinder head and cylinder barrel aren't decorative. They're functional heat exchangers. The fins increase surface area dramatically, allowing heat to radiate into passing air. But here's the critical part. The air has to be moving. When you're sitting still at idle, you're generating combustion heat without the airflow needed to manage it. The engine just gets hotter and hotter. It's like running a space heater in a sealed room. The temperature keeps climbing because heat is being added without a removal mechanism. AmSoil conducted specific dyno testing on air-cooled Harley-Davidson V-twin engines to measure this phenomenon. They designed the test protocol specifically to simulate extended idle conditions, like stop-and-go traffic or, sitting in your driveway for 5 minutes every morning. During these extended idle periods, they recorded cylinder head temperatures as high as 383 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 195 Celsius for anyone thinking in metric. At those extreme temperatures, and these are measured, documented numbers from controlled testing, not speculation, motor oil breaks down approximately 16 times faster than at normal operating temperature. Let that sink in. 16 times faster. Your oil's effective lifespan is being consumed at 16 times the normal rate while you sit there thinking you're protecting the engine. V-twin engine configurations make the heat problem even worse due to basic physics. The front cylinder generates heat during combustion. That heat radiates backward toward the rear cylinder. The rear cylinder is already getting less direct airflow because it sits behind the front cylinder. So you've got a cylinder that's inherently running hotter, getting cooked by radiant heat from the front cylinder. It's a heat compounding problem. Harley-Davidson's engineering team knew this was a serious problem. They weren't ignoring it or hoping riders would figure it out. Starting in 2007, they introduced the Engine Idle Temperature Management System, abbreviated EITMS, on their touring models. This system monitors rear cylinder temperature during idle. When the rear cylinder reaches dangerously high temperatures, the EITMS automatically cuts fuel delivery to that cylinder. Think about what that system's very existence is telling you. Harley-Davidson engineers specifically had to design an emergency thermal management system because they knew riders were going to overheat engines by letting them idle. This isn't a feature you brag about, it's damage control. It's the engineering equivalent of putting guardrails on a cliff because people keep driving off it. Number 4. Modern fuel injection doesn't need it. The 5-minute warm-up rule has specific historical origins, and understanding that history explains why it's outdated. The rule came from carbureted motorcycles, anything manufactured before the early to mid-90s depending on manufacturer. Those bikes genuinely required warm-up time, and it wasn't because riders were being overly cautious. The technology literally required it. Carburetor systems used mechanical chokes or enrichiner circuits to provide extra fuel when cold. These weren't electronically controlled. They were cable-operated or vacuum-operated mechanical systems. The choke would partially block airflow, creating higher vacuum that pulled more fuel through the jets. Or the enrichiner circuit would open an additional fuel passage. Either way, you had to manually manage it. Crude fuel atomization was another issue. Carburetors rely on venturi effect. Air rushing through creates low pressure that sucks fuel up through jets. When the engine's cold, fuel doesn't atomize into a fine mist as effectively. You'd get larger droplets, incomplete mixing, rough combustion. The engine would stumble, hesitate, or outright die if you tried to ride before everything warmed up enough for proper atomization. So that 5-minute warm-up advice? For 1980s bikes, it was completely correct. If you didn't give a carbureted bike several minutes to warm up and let you gradually reduce choke, it would run like absolute garbage or not run at all. The advice wasn't wrong. It's just 40 years outdated for modern machines. Oil pressure builds within 5 to 30 seconds of startup. Your motorcycle even tells you when it's ready by turning off the oil pressure warning light on the instrument cluster. Once that light goes out, oil has reached all critical engine components. Modern multi-grade synthetic oils are specifically engineered to flow immediately even in cold temperatures. The W in oil ratings like 5W40 stands for winter. It's designed to flow at cold temperatures. That's literally what the specification means. Some newer high-performance bikes go even further. The BMW S1000XR displays a lower red line on the tachometer until the engine reaches proper operating temperature. This isn't because the engine can't handle running. It's preventing idiots from bouncing off the stock rev limiter when the engine's cold. The bike is perfectly fine to ride immediately. BMW just implemented idiot proofing to prevent riders from immediately thrashing a cold engine. Number 3. The cold weather warm-up myth makes everything worse. This is where people really dig their heels in and refuse to accept engineering reality. The conversation goes like this. But it's 20 degrees outside. The metal's freezing. I need to warm it up longer so nothing breaks. No, cold weather actually makes extended idling worse for your engine, not better. The colder it is outside, the more damage you're doing by sitting still. We've already covered that cold engines run rich fuel mixtures. That's unavoidable physics and chemistry. Cold fuel doesn't vaporize as easily. Cold air is denser. Cold metal doesn't promote efficient combustion. The ECU compensates with extra fuel. But here's what makes cold weather worse. Cold pistons haven't expanded to their proper running clearances yet. Pistons are designed with specific clearance to the cylinder wall. When they're cold, that clearance is larger than optimal. As the piston heats up from combustion and friction, the aluminum expands and the clearance reduces to the engineered specification. During that cold phase with larger than optimal clearance, more fuel can slip past the rings. Combine that with the rich mixture the ECU is running, and you get maximum fuel washing past the rings into your crankcase. Cold oil makes the fuel dilution problem even worse because it can't evaporate the accumulated gasoline. In a properly warmed engine being ridden, The oil heats up enough that dissolved fuel evaporates out of the crankcase through the PCV system. When you're just sitting there idling in 20-degree weather, your oil never gets hot enough to evaporate anything. The fuel just accumulates, diluting your lubrication more and more with every passing minute. Here's what temperature-appropriate warm-up actually looks like based on manufacturer recommendations and engineering best practices. Above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 to 60 seconds of idle to ensure oil pressure builds. Then ride gently, keeping the engine below half its normal operating RPM range. Between 32 and 50 degrees, 60 to 90 seconds of idle. Then easy riding, keeping revs under 4,000 to 5,000 RPM for the first few miles. Below 32 degrees, up to 2 minutes maximum idle time, then gentle riding, avoiding hard acceleration or high engine loads for the first 5 to 10 miles. Number 2, you're ignoring your owner's manual. Every single modern motorcycle sold in the United States comes with an owner's manual. Every single one of those manuals includes specific warm-up instructions and idle recommendations. Almost nobody reads them. Then those same people express shock and frustration when their engines wear prematurely or require unexpected maintenance that could have been avoided. Let's look at actual manufacturer statements from actual owner's manuals and technical service bulletins. Harley-Davidson touring models, straight from the factory documentation. Start engine, allow 15 to 20 seconds for oil circulation, right away. Not 15 to 20 minutes, 15 to 20 seconds. Yamaha FZ07 owner's manual, avoid lengthy warm-up idling, begin driving once engine runs smoothly. Honda CBR series manual explicitly states, excessive idling can affect life of engine oil. Kawasaki Ninja documentation, do not race engine while warming it up. Drive at moderate speed instead of idling for extended periods. BMW owners' manuals across their entire model lineup consistently state, idling is not appropriate way to warm engine. Drive away without delay. Triumph's modern liquid-cooled models, warm-up periods should not exceed 2 minutes. Extended idling can cause overheating. Ducati's technical documentation warns, prolonged idling at low RPM can lead to carbon deposits and reduced engine efficiency. But riders have their established reasons for ignoring factory engineering specifications. The most common one, my buddy with 30 years of riding experience says I need to warm it up for 5 minutes. Your buddy learned to ride in 1990 on a carbureted bike that genuinely required that warm-up time. His experience is valid for the technology that existed then. It's not valid for your fuel-injected 2025 motorcycle with computer-controlled everything. Number 1, you're literally paying money to actively destroy your engine. Let's talk about money because apparently destroying your engine isn't motivating enough. Here's exactly what the 5-minute morning warm-up habit costs you over 20,000 miles of motorcycle ownership. These aren't estimates or guesses, these are actual costs based on documented maintenance requirements and real-world pricing. Oil changes under normal service conditions using quality full synthetic oil. Change every 5,000 miles equals 4 oil changes over 20,000 miles. 4 changes at approximately $80 each, including oil and filter, equals $320 total. That's the baseline for a normally ridden motorcycle following standard maintenance intervals. If you're lucky and you start riding your bike properly, carbon cleaning is a once per ownership expense. If you persist with excessive idling habits, you might need carbon cleaning every 20 to 30,000 miles as deposits accumulate faster than normal riding can burn them off. Then we get into the catastrophic failure costs that result from years of accumulated damage. Cylinder wall scoring from persistent fuel dilution, washing away protective oil films. Top-end engine rebuild including new pistons, rings, possibly cylinder boring and honing. You're looking at minimum $2,000 in parts and labor for a single-cylinder engine, up to $4,000 or more for multi-cylinder engines depending on configuration. Valve damage from carbon deposits causing poor seating, burning, or complete failure. Cylinder head removal, valve replacement, possible head resurfacing, new valve seats, new valve guides. Minimum $1,000 in labor alone before you even buy parts. Add another $500 to $1,500 in parts, depending on how many valves need replacement and whether the head needs machine shop work. Piston damage from overheating an air-cooled engine through excessive idling. Complete motor teardown and rebuild. New pistons, rings, possibly cylinder work, new gaskets throughout, machine shop time for any necessary boring or honing. You're into $4,000 to $8,000 depending on engine size and configuration. At that point, you're approaching the cost of a used replacement engine in many cases. Most of this damage accumulates invisibly over time until it becomes catastrophic and undeniable. You're not watching incremental wear happen where you could catch it early. You're riding along normally, bike seems fine, maybe it's using a little more oil than usual, but nothing alarming. Then one day at 15,000 miles, the top end lets go. Catastrophic failure. Metal debris circulates through your oil. Now you're not just replacing worn components. You're dealing with collateral damage throughout the engine from metal contamination. Your motorcycle's actual worst enemy isn't aggressive riding on canyon roads, high-speed highway cruising, or hard launches from traffic lights. It's sitting completely stationary in your driveway every single morning while you convince yourself you're being careful and responsible. The engineers who designed your motorcycle already figured out optimal warm-up procedures. They documented those procedures in the owner's manual. They designed the fuel injection system specifically around immediate operation. They selected oil viscosities and bearing tolerances for minimal warm-up time. Trust the people with engineering degrees, testing facilities, and multi-million-dollar R&D budgets over the guy who learned to ride when Ronald Reagan was president and fuel injection was exotic technology. For more insights separating experienced riders from people just repeating what they heard somewhere, check out our video 10 Things Only. Longtime riders understand. Newbies won't get it. You'll see exactly which habits actually matter for motorcycle longevity and which ones are just inherited mythology from the carburetor era.